Yesterday I watched a movie about a dad who saw his wife and family get killed right in front of his eyes. He managed to survive though with one of his kids, but later on his only son gets kidnapped. I was watching Finding Nemo. Disney has some undeniably dark concepts for their films and characters, which I will be discussing in today's video. Just you wait and see. Let's get right on into this video. Coming in at number 10, we have the evil stepsisters. Disney's movie Cinderella was based off of a book by the brothers Grimm, which was certainly super grim. So in the original book, when the prince arrives at Cinderella's house with the glass slipper, the sisters know their feet won't fit in it. So what do? Well, one sister cuts off her toe, and the other cuts off her heel to try to make the slipper fit and trick the prince.
Oh yeah, okay, joke's on him for sure.
But obviously, that didn't work out for them. Then in the ending scene during Cinderella's wedding, a bunch of birds peck out the sisters' eyes. Definitely not Disney friendly. But before I get into number 9, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps us out, so please do it. Please. Thank you very much. And now we will continue. In our 9th spot, we have Pinocchio. Not gonna lie, Pinocchio is a pretty messed up movie on its own. But my heart goes out to Geppetto. Now in the Disney movie, I don't think it said what happened to his wife. All we know is that he lives alone with his pets, carving wood. Poor guy was so lonely and all he wanted was a son to call his own. And when he finally does get a son, that little rat runs away from home and Geppetto risks his life to get him back. Geppetto deserved better. I mean, in the end, it worked out, but still, he deserved better. Coming in at number 8, we have Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph was a pretty good movie. It taught children about stereotypes and how you should never judge a book by its cover. But one character sadly had a very tragic backstory, and that's Sergeant Calhoun. In the film, Fix-It Felix asks if Calhoun is always so intense. Another character replies saying it's not her fault. She was programmed with the most tragic backstory ever. And tragic it is. Basically, on Calhoun's wedding day, a cybug burst into the church and ate her husband. Calhoun defends herself and her wedding guests by shooting the cybug. But then we eventually learned that cybugs turn into whatever they eat. Meaning, it would have turned into her husband. Meaning, Calhoun shot and killed her own husband. That's why she acts so tough all the time. On the inside, she's depressed from the loss of her husband. In our 7th spot, we have Peter Pan. Peter Pan was based off a book by J.M. Barrie, but Peter Pan has a darker past than we realized. Peter was actually based off of J.M. Barrie's older brother, David. Sadly, David passed away due to an ice skating accident. It's said that he created Peter to keep the image of his brother alive. He created Neverland as a place for his brother to go to, meaning that Neverland is a place for dead children. It's like a heaven. Then this makes the whole movie twisted. Why would Peter want to bring Wendy and her brothers to Neverland if they were still alive? Like, was he trying to kill them? Probably. Coming in at number 6, we have Sleeping Beauty. So we all know that in the end of Sleeping Beauty, Aurora is woken up by a kiss on the lips from the prince. They then live happily ever after together. That's not exactly what happens in the 17th century version of Sleeping Beauty. So instead of the prince kissing her on the lips, he gets her pregnant. Keep in mind, Aurora was in a coma when this happened, so she did not consent and had no clue what he was doing. 9 months later, she gives birth to twin babies, which wakes her up from the curse. Then it gets even more twisted, and the prince's wife, yeah, he was married, gets jealous and tries to cook Aurora and her kids. But instead, the jealous wife gets thrown into a cauldron and cooks to death. Bon appetit. And then they lived happily ever after. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Finding Nemo. This movie is more messed up than you think. Right off the bat, Marlin sees the love of his life get killed. Then the rest of his family gets killed. All but one, who's born with a disability because of the attack. Now Marlin lives his life in constant fear. He's scared he's going to lose someone else that's close to him. He's been through a lot, he probably suffers from PTSD. And then one day, his worst nightmare comes true when his son gets taken from him. Poor Marlin, he's been through so much. Coming in at number 4, we have Meet the Robinsons. Louis Robinson just deserves one big hug. Like, he went through so much as a kid. So for starters, when Louis was just a baby, he was abandoned by his mother. She literally just dropped him off at an orphanage and then made a run for it. So he was raised in this orphanage and he struggled to fit in. He even struggled to get adopted. He scared off over 124 possible parents. Imagine how that probably made him feel. He probably felt like he wasn't worthy of love, all because he was a little different. No one loved him for his uniqueness. It just scared people away. See, I just want to give him one big hug. In our third spot, we have Cinderella. Yeah, we're talking about Cinderella again. I don't think everyone realizes just how dark her backstory is. So for starters, Cinderella's mom dies when Cinderella was very young. Her dad then becomes super depressed and marries a terrible woman. He welcomed her and her family into his family, and when he died, they all turned evil. So Cinderella lost her dad, and in a way she lost not just one mom, but 2. And then she gets locked away from everyone else and all she does is clean all the time. She gets treated as a maid. Cinderella had it rough. Even if she did have a happily ever after, her past is still going to haunt her. Moving on to number 2, we have Lilo and Stitch. Another great classic Disney movie. But sadly, Lilo and Nani had a really sad backstory. In the film, it's implied that their parents died in a car accident during bad weather conditions. This is messed up for a number of reasons. Number 1, Nani is only 18 years old and is left to care for herself and her sister. She's got no support from other family members, meaning she was forced to grow up fast to raise her sister. Her life is now spent caring for her younger sister and being a parent to her at such a young age. Then on top of caring for Lilo, she has to work in order to financially support herself and her sister. Imagine that happening to you at 18 years old. On top of that, she's worried about being deemed an unfit caregiver and having her sister ripped out from under her. Poor Nani, she had it rough, and she sacrificed so much for Lilo. And in our number 1 spot, we have Bambi. So yes, Bambi opens with a pretty sad scene with Bambi's mom getting shot. But did you know that Disney actually planned to show Bambi's mom getting shot on screen? Yeah, that was gonna be a thing. It probably would have screwed up a lot of kids. But that's not what I'm gonna talk about. No, it gets worse. So Bambi was based off of a novel written by Felix Salten titled Bambi, A Life in the Woods. Well, that book is anything but kid-friendly. In the book, Bambi ends up getting shot by a hunter. Then he is taught to walk in a circle to spread his blood around to confuse the hunters and dogs that are tracking him. Then in another scene, Bambi's father takes Bambi to go look at a dead body of a man who's been shot. That's so messed up. I'm never looking at Bambi the same way ever again. And that's all for today's video. Let's move on to our comment shoutout portion. I'll be shouting out comments from my video, Top 10 Cursed Disney Theories That Will Ruin Your Childhood. It was a montage video, you should go check that out. Aliz Vlogs commented, Disney is evil, go to Legoland, you'll be safe there. Legoland's not as safe either, honestly. I've been there. And the children are crazy. Don't go there. Huh? The Legos like in a bucket that all the nasty kids put their hands in and they're like touching. I don't know. It's because I didn't go there just for fun. It's because I was a camp counselor and I had to take the campers there and it was just... Don't want to talk about it, but... Dava's Life commented, just what I needed. At a sleepover third wheeling. I needed to watch something. That sucks. I'm sorry. Being a third wheel sucks. I don't know if that's ever happened to me. I would never put my friends through that though. I'm not saying that your friend's like a bad friend, like just, but still, that's hard. I know that's hard, but I'm glad that you watched our videos. Thank you. Crystal Shirley commented, my 11-year-old said she doesn't ever want to go. She heard about the ashes. Well, you're welcome. I'm saving you money. Disney is expensive. So if your kids ever want to go, just like show them this video and then scare them and then they'll never want to go and you can save your money. So problem Problem solved. Just kidding, maybe don't. I don't want to scare them. And then be like, Lindsay scared them, and then all the Karens come after me? No thank you. And that's all the comments I'm shouting out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see you.